Today, I want to invite you to participate in a thought experiment. Imagine that 24 hours before you were born, a genie appeared to you. He said, "You can design the world you are about to enter. You can decide the political system, the economy, and the social rules. But there is a catch. You do not know who you are going to be in that world. You do not know if you will be born rich or poor, intelligent or slow, strong or weak. You simply have to pull a ball out of a barrel, and that ball determines your destiny. I call this the Ovarian Lottery." I won this lottery. I was born in the United States in 1930, white male, and with a specific wiring in my brain that happens to fit perfectly with a capitalist system. If I had been born in the 1200s, my talent for allocating capital would have been useless. I would have been some animal's lunch. Luck is the starting line, but it is never the finish line. I have seen people who won the Ovarian Lottery and wasted every single advantage. And I have seen people dealt a terrible hand who built lives of immense power. The difference is not IQ, it is their operating system. Most people drift through life like a boat without a rudder, pushed by the current of society and the expectations of their parents. To win the game of life, you need a code. You need a set of iron laws that you never break, no matter what the world throws at you. Over my 90 years, I have made billions of dollars, but the most important investments I ever made were in principles. We live in the richest time in human history with more information and opportunity than any generation before us. And yet, look around. Are people happier? No, they are anxious, overwhelmed, and paralyzed. They are drowning in more. Most people think that to get more out of life, they have to put more into it. They think if they want to be rich, they need to start 3 businesses. This is the addition trap, and it is the fastest way to mediocrity. To win, you do not need to add, you need to subtract. Let me tell you about my personal pilot, Mike Flint. He flew my private jet for 10 years, and one day I saw frustration in his eyes. He felt stuck. I asked him to write down the top 25 things he wanted to achieve. Then I told him to circle the top 5 absolute non-negotiables. He sweated over it, but eventually he had 2 lists. He told me he would work on the top 5 primarily and chip away at the other 20 when he had spare time. I looked him dead in the eye and told him he was wrong. Those 20 items are not your secondary priorities. They are your enemies. They are your avoid at all costs list. You must not give them a single second of your energy until you have succeeded with the top 5. Most people are shocked by this. Why call a good goal an enemy? Because bad ideas are easy to avoid. The problem is the good ideas, the projects that are pretty interesting, the relationships that are comfortable. These things are dangerous because they are seductive enough to justify spending your time on them, but they are not great. They steal the fuel you need for the great idea. You have limited cognitive bandwidth. If you spread that energy across 25 things, you move each by 1 inch. If you pour it into 5, you move them a mile. The person who moves a mile wins. Fire is only created when you focus the entire power of the sun onto one single tiny dot. That is the power of subtraction. Your ego will scream because it wants to be everything to everyone, but you must accept the pain of elimination. You have to take a perfectly good project behind the barn and shoot it, not because it is bad, but because it is not the best. Busyness is a status symbol for the mediocre. It is a drug you take to avoid the hard work of making a choice. Motion is not progress. A rocking chair has a lot of motion, but never goes anywhere. You need to stop rocking and start moving. This brings us to the hardest rule to master, the inner scorecard. My father taught me this when I was young, and without it, I would be broken today. There are 2 ways to live: by the outer scorecard, based on what others think of you, reputation, image, applause, or by the inner scorecard, based on what you think of yourself, your own standards and integrity. 99% of the population lives by the outer scorecard. They choose careers based on how they sound at cocktail parties and buy houses to impress friends they don't even like. I have a brutal test for you. Would you rather be the world's greatest lover, but have everyone think you are the worst? Or would you rather be the world's worst lover, but have everyone think you are the greatest? If you choose the second, you are an actor performing for an audience, and you are a slave to them. If they clap, you are happy. If they boo, you are destroyed. You are like a leaf in the wind. But if you choose the first, you are free. You know the truth, and the truth is enough. Social media is the ultimate outer scorecard machine. People trade their inner peace for outer validation, which is the worst investment you can ever make. I faced this pressure in the late 90s during the dot-com bubble. Everyone was getting rich buying technology stocks with no revenue. My neighbors were making millions overnight, and the world laughed at me. Newspapers said I was obsolete. My own investors were angry. If I lived by the outer scorecard, I would have panicked and bought those stocks just to look smart. But I looked at the math. The math said those companies were worth zero. So I sat on my hands. I let them call me a dinosaur. I went home and slept like a baby because I knew I was right. Then, in 2000, the bubble burst. People lost their life savings, and I was still standing. The inner scorecard protects you from the madness of the crowd and allows you to stay calm when the world is burning. True freedom is knowing that if everything was taken away, money, reputation, status, you would still be okay because your value is inside you, not around you. Next time you make a decision, ask yourself, if nobody could see this, would I still do it? If the answer is no, then don't do it. Build your house on the rock of your own standards, not the sand of public opinion. In my office in Omaha, I have 3 boxes: in, out, and too hard. 99% of the papers that land on my desk go immediately into the too hard box. Most people spend their lives trying to clear the inbox. I spend mine filling the too hard box. This is about your circle of competence. From school, we are trained to believe we must have an answer for everything. If you say, I don't know in a classroom, you are punished. You learn to fake it. This conditioning follows you into adulthood, where you feel pressure to have an opinion on cryptocurrency or AI just to sound smart. But in the game of wealth, I do not know is the most profitable phrase. You do not have to be an expert on everything. You only have to understand one thing better than anyone else. Inside the circle, you are the predator. Outside, you are the prey. Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, said he was smart in spots and stayed around those spots. The problem with most smart people is they don't know where their spots are. They think their intelligence is a liquid that can flow into any container, that being a great surgeon means they can pick real estate stocks. This arrogance of intellect is how smart people go broke. Think of Ted Williams, the greatest baseball hitter. He carved the strike zone into 77 cells. He knew if he swung at a ball in his sweet spot, he would bat 400. If he swung just 2 inches away, he would bat 230. In life, there are no called strikes. The market can throw 1,000 pitches at you, and you can stand there with the bat on your shoulder for years. The crowd will scream at you to swing, but you don't have to. You can wait for the one perfect fat pitch that lands exactly in your sweet spot, and when you see it, you swing with all your might. This is difficult because the ego hates the feeling of missing out. When your neighbor makes money on a stock you didn't buy, it hurts. But you didn't lose money, you just missed a pitch outside your circle. The size of your circle doesn't matter. The definition of the perimeter does. You must know exactly where the line is. Kind of understanding is the same as not understanding. In a world that rewards specialization, the generalist is the victim. Draw your circle, write down what you genuinely understand, things you've studied for 10 years. Make a pledge never to bet your money or time outside of it. Stay in your spot and wait for your pitch. History shows that the greatest empires were not built on gold or armies, but on trust. People who rise to the top and then crash usually fail because they traded their reputation for money. When I hire people for Berkshire Hathaway, a company with hundreds of thousands of employees I cannot watch, I look for three qualities: intelligence, energy, and integrity. If they do not have integrity, I want them to be dumb and lazy. If you hire someone dishonest who is also smart and energetic, you have hired a machine designed to destroy you. They will find every loophole and burn your house down. Integrity is the filter through which all other talent must pass. Most people think of integrity as a moral burden that stops them from making easy money. They are wrong. Integrity is the ultimate economic moat. In a transparent world where everyone has a camera and a keyboard, you cannot hide. If you cut corners, you will be caught. It might take a year or 10, but the truth leaks out. And when it does, the tax you pay is infinite. If people don't trust you, every interaction becomes expensive. You have to hire lawyers and sign long contracts. This is friction cost. But if your handshake is better than a contract, you have a trust premium. Deals come faster and you become a magnet for quality. I use the newspaper test every day. Before you send an email or sign a deal, imagine that tomorrow morning a reporter writes a story about it on the front page of the New York Times. Imagine your spouse, children, and neighbors reading it at the breakfast table. How do you feel? If you feel even a tiny bit of shame, do not do it. It doesn't matter if it's legal or if everyone else is doing it. The test is about who you are when nobody is watching. Your brain is good at rationalizing saying just this once, but the newspaper test cuts through that. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. One stupid text or dishonest trade and it is gone forever. Reputation is like fine china. You can glue the pieces back, but the cracks will always show. Audit your life. Is there anything you're doing that would fail this test? If so, stop immediately. Being a good person is actually the most selfish thing you can do because it pays the highest dividends and lets you sleep at night. Finally, we arrive at the long game. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Most people nod but don't live like they understand it. Compound interest is the fundamental law of the universe, applying to biology, relationships, and knowledge. Look at my wealth today. People see the billions and the headlines, but they don't see the variables. There is the principle, what you start with, the rate of return, how smart you are, and time, how long you wait. Most people focus on the principle or the rate of return, trying to find the hottest stock, but they ignore time. Time is the exponent. Time is the heavy lifter. 99% of my net worth was accumulated after my 50th birthday. If I had retired at 40 or 50, you wouldn't even know my name. The magic happened at the end because the snowball had been rolling for 60 years. Life is like a snowball. The important thing is finding wet snow and a really long hill. You have to stay on the hill and keep rolling. You cannot stop or melt. The hardest part of the long game isn't the math, it's the psychology. Compounding is excruciatingly boring. You go to the gym for a day or a month and nothing seems to change. Most people quit there. They are addicted to immediate gratification in a TikTok world of 5-second videos. This culture destroys your ability to play the long game and makes you fragile. To win, you must be willing to be bored and do the unsexy work to read 500 pages a day when nobody is watching and eat healthy when others eat fast food. You have to survive the flat part of the curve where the boys are separated from the men. Everyone wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody wants to lift heavy weights. Everyone wants to be rich, but nobody wants to hold a stock for 30 years. People interrupt compounding unnecessarily because they get scared when the market drops. That's like planting a tree and digging it up every week to check the roots. You will kill the tree. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. I am sitting in the shade of trees I did not plant, and I am planting trees today I will never sit under. That is the long game. Focus on your habits, not your goals. Goals are for winning once. Habits are for winning repeatedly. What you do every day, reading, saving, building trust, will compound. Read 20 pages a day, and in 10 years, you've read 300 books. That will transform you. You don't need to be the smartest or fastest. You just need to be the most consistent. Intensity is overrated. Consistency is underrated. As we reach the end, we've talked about the Ovarian Lottery, subtraction, the inner scorecard, the circle of competence, reputation, and the long game. But there is one final test, the obituary test. I see people chasing the wrong things, numbers on a screen, titles on a card, the admiration of strangers. At 90 years old, I can tell you they are wrong. I have known people who had everything, yachts, private jets, buildings named after them, but when they reached the end, nobody loved them. Their children didn't talk to them, and their spouses were just waiting for the inheritance. They died alone in the most expensive hospital rooms. That is the definition of failure. I don't care how much money you have. If nobody thinks well of you at my age, your life has been a disaster. Avoid this by reverse engineering your life. Most people live forward, reacting to today. I want you to live backward. Fast forward to your funeral. You are in the casket, and the people who matter most are standing there. What do you want them to say? Do you want them to say he made a lot of money, or that he was kind, generous, and made them better people? Write your obituary today, not the one for the newspaper, but the one written in the hearts of those you love. Look at your life today. Are you living that obituary? If not, change now because the clock is ticking. Money is important and gives freedom, but it cannot buy love. You can buy sex and testimonials, but not the real thing. The only way to get love is to be lovable. It's irritating if you have a lot of money to think you can't just write a check for $1 million worth of love, but it doesn't work that way. The more you give love away, the more you get. This is the most important rule of all. Do not let this be just another video that gives you a 10-minute dopamine hit. Information without action is useless. Take one rule and apply it today. Maybe make your 25 fifths list, or stop caring what neighbors think, or simply be patient and plant a tree. The world is full of people who know what to do, but it is owned by the people who actually do it. You won the lottery just by being here and having the brain to understand this. Do not waste your ticket. Play the game hard, play it fair, and play it for the long run.